Hi, I'm Chris White, one of the project managers at Wynn Consulting Engineers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We're going to talk about demolition projects today, and those are some of the greatest projects to work on. Lots of fun, make a mess, make lots of noise, wear hard hats, run around outside. Great projects to work on. Now, one thing about demolition projects, though, is sometimes you can run into environmental problems. Asbestos, lead, mercury, PCBs, just to name a few. So if you run into environmental problems, it's best to know about them beforehand so that you can plan on what to do, clean up, dispose of the waste, get rid of the asbestos, whatever it is that you have to do, and then get on about the demolition project, and then eventually turn that site into whatever it is, whether you're building a new building or you're going to turn it into green space, whatever it is. But take care of those environmental problems, then do the demolition, and then turn the site into what you want it to be. Now, in the case of asbestos and demolition, there's a regulation called the National Emission Standard for Hazardous Air Pollutants, or NESHAPS. This law has been around for a long time, about 50 years, and so this is nothing new. And so any demolition contractor or any environmental professional working on your projects should know about the NESHAPS rule and how to comply with it. And one of the things that you have to do to comply with the NESHAPS rule is to make sure that you've got a comprehensive asbestos survey before you start the demolition. So before you do any demolition work, you have to have an asbestos survey, and then if you have to do the asbestos abatement, get it done, then do the demolition, instead of doing the demolition and then discovering during demolition that you have asbestos or some other sort of environmental problem, and then have to clean it up and do the waste disposal and then resume the demolition work. So you've got to have an asbestos survey. That's non-negotiable, and it's got to be thorough. One other thing to comply with the NESHAPS rule is to notify your state's environmental regulatory agency before you start the demolition. So on this project, what happened was the building owner thought they'd removed all the asbestos, and so they told the demolition contractor they could go to work. On the flip side, the demolition contractor failed to notify the state environmental regulatory agency that they were about to start the work, and they didn't have a thorough asbestos survey. So DEQ found out about the job, went out, visited the site, discovered they didn't have a thorough asbestos inspection, and ordered them to get one done. So this is where we came in. We went out, we took some samples, we found asbestos in two spots, in the transite and the cooling tower, and then on the floor tile and the mastic that was still on one of the slabs. So they had asbestos, and they had already done a ton of demolition. So we ended up having to help them get an asbestos abatement contractor on site to clean up the mess, and that added 2 months delay and $1 million to the project cost. So ran over schedule, ran way over budget as a result of not having the asbestos survey done to begin with, and then also not notifying DEQ before starting the work. How can you keep this from happening? Well, first off, make sure you've got a thorough asbestos inspection. That's the key. And then if there's any question about the asbestos inspection and whether it's thorough, go back and take another look at it. Take more samples, do something, but check and make sure that you're really ready to start the demolition work. What do you do if you discover asbestos during the demolition? You've already started the work, and all of a sudden you find something laying on the ground, or it's somewhere in the building or something like that, and it's asbestos. What do you do? Well, the first thing is step back, stop work, don't do anything else, don't throw anything else away, don't take anything else to the landfill. Stop and see what you have, and then figure out what to do. Develop a corrective action plan. Step one. Step two, make sure that the state's environmental regulatory agency knows about the situation, so you need to notify them. But already have a game plan in place so that you can tell them, okay, this is what happened, and this is what we plan to do about it. And then something else to consider might be to go ahead and invite them out to the site so that you can run by them what you propose to do and make sure that they're okay with it. And then clean up the mess, solve the problem, but also be prepared to tell the environmental regulatory folks how you plan to keep this from happening again. If you've got an asbestos mess on your hands and you're not sure what to do, give us a call at 225-761-9141, or you can email me, Chris White, at cwhite@wynnwhite.com. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button, and also leave us a comment below if you want to talk about your demolition project or if you had an asbestos mess on your hands and you had to clean it up. Tell us what you did and how it turned out for you. Also, leave us a comment for suggestions for further topics on other videos.